by taking the time and analyzing your accounts, looking to see who your followers are, seeing what works, what doesn't work, what hashtags are working, what are your competitors doing, you can optimize your content, you can stay competitive, and you can achieve your social media goals. Hi friends, I'm Katie Brinkley, and you're listening to a Rocky Mountain Marketing Quickcast. These bite-sized episodes are released every Thursday and are going to give you the latest news and tips in the world of social media that are happening right now. Let's dive into today's Quickcast episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. This Quickcast, we're going to dive into what the heck is a social media audit and should you do one? I think that for a lot of us, we're utilizing social media, but maybe we really haven't taken a step back to see how far we've come and if what we're doing is the best practice anymore. So I want to make sure that all of us understand what a social media audit is and figure out if it is right for our business. So let's start by understanding exactly what a social media audit is. And the social media audit is a comprehensive process that allows you to analyze and evaluate your brand or your business's presence on social media. Are you doing the right things? It involves reviewing your social media accounts, looking at the content that you've been publishing, looking at the engagement metrics, and really understanding who your audience is, and understanding and evaluating the overall social media performance. Now, keep in mind that the primary goal of a social media audit is to identify the areas of where you are knocking it out of the park and where you might need a quick refresher or a tutorial, some of the weaknesses in your social media strategy. And when you do this, you can determine where you can improve the performance of your accounts and identify the areas where you are, like I said, knocking it out of the park. I want to talk a little bit about looking at your audience demographics first. And this is extremely important because for yours truly, if on Instagram, the majority of my audience is female. They're women, mostly in Colorado, followed by California and then New York, ages 35 to 44, but 68% of my audience on Instagram is female. So I know exactly who I'm talking to. On Facebook and LinkedIn, it is just the reverse. I still have the same age range, but the majority of my followers on LinkedIn and on Facebook are male. So I have to keep that in mind when I'm writing my captions of who I am talking to. Look at who your audience demographic is and make sure that you are tailoring your posts so that you can speak exactly to that primary audience on that platform. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to go out there on Instagram and say, hey, ladies, but I know that I can use some pink. I know that majority of the people that I'm speaking to are going to be female there versus over on LinkedIn. And I wanted to start with the demographics as that first talking point because this is why it's extremely important to audit what you're doing on social media. If I were just to say, well, I work mostly with female business owners, on Instagram I have mostly females following me, it must be the same on my other platforms, well then I'd be missing the boat with a lot of potential clients over on these other platforms. And I think that there are several key reasons why running this social media audit is extremely crucial for your business. And as I said before, it helps you identify where you can improve. And when you're looking at the different areas of where you can improve, by conducting this audit, you can pinpoint the aspects of your social media strategy that need the most attention, such as content strategy, engagement levels, or again, who you're talking to, who that audience is on each platform. By having these insights, it's going to allow you to refine your strategy and really enhance your overall social media presence. Another benefit of having a social media audit conducted is the ability to optimize your content. By reviewing your content strategy and analyzing the different audience demographics, you can tailor your content to better resonate with your target audience. Like I said before, I have majority females on Instagram. I know who I'm talking to. When you understand who it is that's on the other side of the keyboard, it makes it so much easier to create content. And understanding what types of content your audience prefers and responds to is going to enable you to create more engaging and more effective posts. No more posting to crickets. And I think that when you're conducting these social media audits, it's going to help you stay competitive in this ever-evolving landscape of social media. I think that with social media audits, it allows you to look at and analyze your competitors' social media accounts. You can identify their strengths, their weaknesses. What are they doing that's working? I'm not saying to go out and copy them, but you can say, this person in my industry who's been posting reels for the past 3 years is all of a sudden posting a whole bunch of carousel posts. Maybe I should do the same. So you can look and see where their strengths and weaknesses are, see what's working for them, and you can gain insights that are going to help you refine your own social media strategy. By identifying these gaps in your competitors' strategies, you can seize the opportunity and stay ahead of the game. Also, by doing these audits on a regular basis, you're going to be able to monitor your progress and see how far you've come. By tracking your social media metrics and setting goals, you can monitor your progress over time. And this will help you understand what's working and what isn't. If you notice that a particular approach or content type isn't working anymore, you can pivot and make adjustments accordingly. I think that with all of this, if you're not tracking where you have come from and where you started, you're going to get very discouraged with social media. And I'm not saying just with the followers. Look at the profile views, look at the engagement metrics, look and see how many people have showed up in your DMs to talk with you. Those are metrics that you can be looking at, and you can be looking at your different competitors and seeing how they're growing and what they're implementing so that you can replicate that for your own strategy. Now, I understand the difficulty that comes with being consistent. I can stand on my soapbox and say consistency, quality over quantity until I'm blue in the face. But consistency is key when it comes to building a strong brand presence on social media. And when you conduct a social media audit, you can look back and say, wow, I've kind of been falling off the mark. Or, oh, hey, I noticed that when I posted less this week, we actually did okay. Or, hey, we nailed it by posting a bunch of reels this week. You can look and see, hey, this is what was working for me. And I know I need to replicate that in the future if I want to have the same brand results. By maintaining that cohesive brand image and brand consistency on your social media channels, you're making it easier for your audience to recognize and engage with your content. Like you know that my content is going to come out every Tuesday and Thursday. If all of a sudden I posted it on a Friday or a Sunday, you'd be confused. I've built that regular, consistent posting schedule. You know what to expect from me. A social media audit is an essential step in developing a social media strategy, a successful social media strategy. By taking the time and analyzing your accounts, looking to see who your followers are, seeing what works, what doesn't work, what hashtags are working, what are your competitors doing, you can optimize your content, you can stay competitive, and you can achieve your social media goals. So now that we understand the importance of running a social media audit, how often should you do it? What are some of the steps in conducting a social media audit? And running a social media audit may seem daunting, but with a structured approach, it can be a very empowering process. And you will understand, hey, this is what I can do to be successful. So let's dive right in. Okay, so how often should you do a social media audit? I recommend doing a social media audit today. If you've never done one, do it today after you get done listening to this episode and conduct your very first social media audit. And then come back at the end of month 1 and look at all of your insights. From there, you can go in and then start doing these audits every 6 months. Look to see what you're doing, what's working. If you're saying, hey, I'm posting to social media every day and I've never gotten a single lead, you need to do an audit right now. Okay, so what is entailed in doing a social media audit? Step one is to identify all of your social media accounts. It's really easy to overlook or forget about some older accounts. So it is essential to go through all of your major social networks and search for your brand, your product, or any previous names that you might have used. And once you've identified your accounts, it's important to get rid of any old or inactive ones. You can transfer or download or archive the data from those accounts that you want to keep. And you can go in and report any imposters or accounts that are using any of your materials or might be posing as you. I went through, every now and then I'll go through a phase where I will have a whole bunch of imposters pretending to be Katie Brinkley. And that's why I actually bought the blue verification check mark, because I am not going to sell you crypto in the DMs. I'm just not going to do it. If you ever get a DM from me trying to convince you to buy crypto, it's not me. But that happens regularly. So Google your business, Google your name, and see if there's anyone out there pretending to be you. Now, to effectively track all of your social media presence, consider using a platform like Metricool or Flick. I use both of these tools. I recently gave an entire training, a free training, all about Flick. It is one of my favorite tools. If you're interested in it, send me a DM. I'll send you the free training there. I'm not selling anything. I just literally love the tool. If you want to check it out, you can go to katiebrinkley.com/Flick. But let's talk about Flick a little bit. And this allows you to have all of your social media accounts in one place. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you can have all of them in one place. It doesn't have Twitter in there, but for yours truly, I consider those the big four. So when you have all your social media tools in one place, it makes it easier to spot any gaps or areas for improvement in your overall social media strategy. And take a moment to assess whether you're present on every single social media platform and determine, is this the best use of your time? I tell people time and time again, when we first start working together, we need to take a step back. You don't need to be on all these social media platforms. You just don't need to. Because if you're not out there engaging and being social and interacting with people on these platforms, then you don't necessarily need to be creating content for it. You copy and paste for social media is a terrible idea. So take a moment to assess what social media platforms you're actually present on and you're creating content for on a consistent basis and you're engaging with on a consistent basis. All right, now that you have a clear overview of all of your social media accounts, it's time to look at your profile information. Check that your branding is consistent across all platforms. For yours truly, I am Katie Brinkley on Instagram and Facebook, and then just straight Katie Brinkley on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure that your branding is consistent on all platforms, and take a look at your bio, the about language, all of the URLs. I was doing a social audit the other day and I found out the URL in my bio was broken. Look at your URLs, make sure that everything is going where it needs to go. Look at the profile image, look at the banner image. Make sure that everything it has that cohesive look and is on brand, saying what it is that you do, who you serve, and why people should trust you. When you look at all of this and make sure that everything is uniform across the board, it's going to help strengthen your brand image and make it easier for your audience to recognize you and engage with your content. I talked about this earlier, understanding your audience on each platform. It is crucial for an effective social media strategy. You're going to want to look at the demographics on each platform to gain insights into who you are targeting. This is why I tell people time and time again, there is a terrible idea to buy followers just to quote unquote get started. Because if you're looking at your demographics and you're a women's health company and you purchased followers just to quote unquote get started, and you have 2,000 13-year-old boys living in Brazil, you're not going to see the type of engagement, what you want, that you need. You're not going to see the type of metrics. You're not going to know exactly who it is that you're talking to. So one, never buy followers, but look at the demographics of each account and gain insights into who you are targeting. And remember, like I said before, each platform, you might have a different demographic, so you need to tailor your approach accordingly. Look at your social media audit spreadsheet, note down details such as gender, age, location, and more. for each audience segment. And this is really going to help guide your content planning and help you create more relevant and more engaging posts. All right, so now let's define the specific goals for each social network. What do you want to achieve with your social media accounts? Whether it's growing followers, increasing engagement, or getting people to go to your website, expanding your reach, setting clear and measurable goals is essential. And these goals will serve as a roadmap for your social media strategy. It's going to allow you to track your progress along the way and figure out which platforms you need to spend the most time on. Another important aspect to keep in mind when you're doing a social media audit is evaluating your brand voice. At Next Step Social, when I bring on a new client, we sit down for an hour together and talk, me and the new client. We record it. My copywriter watches it. My designer watches it. The brand account manager watches it. We want to hear what it is that you say. What are you passionate about? There are certain things that you say all the time. We want to know what your brand voice is. And your brand voice should be consistent across all the platforms. It should come out. So when someone opens up your social posts and sees a reel of you talking, and then they look at a carousel post, it sounds like the same person. You have to make sure that your brand voice is consistent across all platforms, reflecting your unique tone, your unique language, because people will hear you when they're reading your captions. And last but not least, no social media audit is complete without checking your current social media metrics. So dive into the data, analyze engagement rates, reach, impressions, and other relevant metrics. Look at the insights that each platform provides to you and see how your content is performing. Identify the different types of posts that resonate with your audience the most and use that information to inform your future content strategy. Looking at these insights for your social media strategy is going to help you take a step ahead of your competitors. And that's what also you should do. Look at your competitors. Look to see what your competitors are posting about. What hashtags are they using? What posts did they do that had the best reach? What posts did they do that had the most likes? Look for posts that are performing well, how they use different calls to action, and what content formats work for them. Identify areas where you can improve and fill the gaps with your own unique language and your own unique content. All right, a social media audit is crucial, and I think it will help you take a step ahead. It's going to help you get that social media strategy in place. You're not going to feel lost when it comes to what should I post on social media, or social media seems so frustrating. I'm not getting the leads or the results that I want to. Conduct this audit, do it today, do it in 30 days, and then you can start doing it every 3 to 6 months. Once you have that strategy in place, and look to see what is working and what isn't. I said earlier, Flick is one of my favorite tools. Go to katiebrinkley.com/Flick to check it out. I think it is a great tool for hashtags. It's a content scheduler in there. It has an AI content writing tool in there. It is a wealth of knowledge. If you want my free training on it, just shoot me a DM. I'm happy to send it to you. DM me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Happy to send you the recording to that. But I think that Flick is a great tool to start your own audit. And if this sounded way too daunting for you, I do conduct social media audits. I'll include a link if you would like to book your social media audit. It's at katiebrinkley.com/audit. Let's get your social media working for you. It is an incredible tool. It's one of the most cost-effective ways to grow your business and do marketing for your business in front of the right audience. You just need to know how to market to those people, who it is that you're talking to, and what is working and what isn't. And a social media audit is the best place to get started. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Make sure to subscribe so that you can continue navigating the world of entrepreneurship. And I'd love to hear from you. Please leave the show a review and connect with me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at @IamKatieBrinkley or connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you're ready to start making some sales on social media, be sure to grab my free guide to selling in the DMs without being spammy. You can get that at katiebrinkley.com. Let's keep taking your marketing to all new heights.